get all the recording inside the blue lines over here. We got it all marked off over here that anybody that wants to record, we're going to set up right over there. We have a whole area set up.
Without microphones, my camera doesn't pick up recordings very well.
Yes, ma'am.
And so, if I'm not causing any disturbance,
That's our designated spot that we're gonna.
Why is that? I mean, like, what was the reasoning behind it?
We did that so one, we know who is and who isn't recording, and then if there's people
recording.
I know, and then if there's children here or people that do not want to be recorded, then it goes over there.
I know, but I did make I did send that email to say if we weren't causing a disturbance and I'm only focused on what's going on, that it could be an issue with recording, from a citizen's perspective.
Yes, ma'am.
With a phone or camera.
Correct.
So,
but then if we let you do it, everybody else can say, well, it's just me. Then we've got 25 people. I know it's just you tonight.
I'm the only one that's ever really recorded the work session, so I feel like it's a little targeted.
We can't make an ordinance that says only for this person or this person can do what they want to do. And I understand, but like I said, we've designated that area for anybody that wants to record.
All right.
I guess we just sit over here. Is that good? Work around and sit next to me. Okay. Hey, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you? I was kind of concerned about this.
Okay.
Because the sound on my camera, without you guys having microphones in the first place,
right,
makes it difficult for people to hear it.
Right.
And knowing that I wasn't going to be recording minors in the room, I feel like there should be some exception given to people who plan to record as citizens.
Greg told you to be.
He told me I had to come over here, and I just think that's an blue line. I just don't understand that personally, because I'm not causing a disturbance. I'm not filming anybody else other than you all.
Right.
And I think it's a little bit of an undue burden on citizens who might just have a cell phone, they might just have a camera that doesn't pick up audio, especially with no microphones.
Exactly.
It does make it difficult for people to hear.
Let me go talk to them. And then I was going to ask, are you videoing the planning commission meeting tomorrow? Will you be live streaming?
Well, the thing is, that meeting should be live streamed already according to the agenda.
We're live streaming it, but we don't save it.
We haven't actually seen the live stream. We've been trying to tune in to live streams. I've emailed Johnny Blizzard. I've emailed John Seifert
today
and said, hey.
And I've been told it's going to be live streamed on YouTube. So
we've been told that a time or two, and we've yet to see it actually happen. It was months and months ago that we were able to see it, and we've been trying to monitor if it's happening. But there are some things on the planning agenda that I think are important for citizens to hear about.
And I have a conflict. Otherwise, I would go. But I agree 100%.
Yeah. I mean, it would just.
You guys really bailed me out on the town hall. I mean, that was fabulous because it disappeared from our website.
Yeah, and things like that happen. And quite honestly, if I was a representative, I would want my words to be able to go back and say, I said this. I didn't say something. I said this.
Exactly.
And so I would really like to be able to be in a corner, just at a chair there or something to be able to see.
5:30. Let's get it started.
It was back to from Mike down to this line.
Yeah. That's
It's 5:30. Let's get started. Absolutely. So we'll start the work session tonight. We've got a few items to be discussed, and we'll start with the budget.
okay. Well, I'm starting it as again, everybody knows the budget process. You guys, I don't have to tell you all, but just remind you. Basically starts with listening to department heads, asking them what they're going to need this year, and tying it together with numbers. Really appreciate Steve for all of his investigative work. Sometimes, again, he asks a lot of questions, and I think that's been great for us as a team to recognize that the question is not questioning you, it's to understand. And in turn, I think we've come up with some really good ideas, not only short-term but longer-term, on what needs to be done. Once mayor is kind of done with it, we hand it off to the finance committee. Finance committee sat down with me, I guess, about a week ago, and we had a good discussion where I was able to answer a lot of their questions. They asked a couple of things. And so this is kind of a hybrid presentation of mayor and finance committee. I think the finance committee kind of still has the budget, but now that you guys have copies of it, they'll officially hand it off to you, I guess, today. Kind of maybe that's happened, but then again, we're looking for the feedback, and just all this is this high-level stuff. So, going through this, I want to start there. I think it's just incredible that, again, Madison was named the number 12 best place to live in the U.S. 2 days ago. That's on top of 2009, if you guys remember. They had the top 100 at that point. We were number 49. And so that's just a fabulous thing. And then you tie it right below that with we're the number 1 zip code to live in Alabama. And then you go back to the 12th zip code is the Limestone County side. So of what we're managing in the city, those are basically two really high accolades. And I'll just throw in there that in learning today that our Madison City Schools had 37 National Merit finalists. Wow. That's just that's beyond incredible. And then to me, in this, we tie it together with this, because that's what we're managing. I mean, you look at the numbers that are on there, and being, from 4,000 to basically 15,000 to 29,000 to 43,000, and then 57,000. To continue to go with the accolades that we're receiving, both in our schools and our city, I just commend all of the councils and all of the school boards and all of the superintendents and all of the mayors that are a part of that. It's funny because there's a small contingent of folks who simply want our message to be, they're not happy. Madison is thrilled and people keep moving here. Can we continue to do better? I think we don't continue to strive to do better. Shame on us. But for what we're managing and the way that collaboratively we've done that, I'm really proud of what we've done. And so what's that going to look like? So if you look at from left to right now when you have this budget, and of course the 2022 budget numbers are going to be on the far right. But if you look at revenues and the total finance sources, so all the money coming in that our residents give us or we use through taxes, we've gone from and I missed it, but it's audited numbers in 19 and 20. Those are actual, that's been done, and that's basically, right at 39 million of revenue in 19, 45 and 20. We budgeted for 40 in 21. Those numbers are going to come in higher. We just don't have them. But our budget this year will have just a little under $47 million worth of revenue and other financial sources coming in. When you look at what we're spending, well, 36 million, 41 million, 43. This year we're going to hopefully spend somewhere in the $56 million range. Now, in many instances, I know that looks like deficit spending, but the reality of it is, as we keep building our base and building, in essence, our checking account, our savings account, what we're proposing to do this year is spend a great deal of it on our citizens. We can't keep building money and putting it in the bank and just holding it. So the question then, to make Roger happy, is, well, what is it that we make sure that we still have there when we're done at the end? Well, you can see, 15 million, 19 million, 16 million. If this budget holds, and we've really never come under, it usually is over, we'll still have almost $17 million in the bank and right at just a little under 36% fund balance. I can tell you, if you ask Roger, he's still not happy because he wants more like a 42 to 43% fund balance, and I don't blame him. But in this case, the way it's always worked is, unfortunately, and you'll see, we don't ever get to spend it all for different reasons. And that number is going to go up. So it's going to start there if everybody and you guys get to approve the final budget. But that's what our fund balance continues to look like. So that's our savings account. if there's a rainy day. So to me, one of the key pieces that I think is critical for our community and critical for this council is typically, starting in 2012 and going all the way through, we would take the monies that come in from our bonds, from our sales tax and property tax, and we would grab that money and pull it into the general fund to subsidize the revenues that we in turn have been generating. You can see over the course, it was 2.5 all the way down, and in 2020 we were still pulling $2 million of bond money into, I guess it's bond 10 transfer into general fund. Guys, in 2021 we cut that back to $500,000. This year we're pulling none of that money into general fund. That's big money that we then can use to buy larger projects. So we are weaning ourselves off of using, in essence, bond and money for our general fund. And that's in this budget, we are taking no money from that fund. I think we're making a huge employee investment also. For the 5th straight year, our employees will receive a step increase. For the 5th straight year, our employees' insurance premiums will remain the same or be lower, and I'll show you that in a minute. We are, however, making a change in investment, and that's adding 20 employees. And a lot of that comes because of the growth that our city has. 6 right now in fire, 4 in police, 3 in recreation and public works, and 1 additional in HR, court, engineering, and IT. We will give you every reason that you as a council need on why we agree that that's the way it should be. But the bottom line is this, it's twofold. One, from a public safety standpoint, there's no question we need to do that. From the recreation and public works, we're losing people to other folks, and we will not get to spend all of our money on our citizens and get the projects done that we need if we don't have additional employees, so adding it there. And then when it comes to HR, IT, we need 1 more person in each one of those departments to manage. In many instances, it's for our employees. In other instances, it's for getting all of the things done. Right now, they're able to take care of the big rocks, but sometimes there's smaller things that don't get taken care of because we just can't get to them. And it's time that we spend some of the money that comes in to make sure that we're properly staffed, and that's what we'll be trying to bring to you. But I want to go back to the increase in insurance payments. I know it's a little hard to see here, but if you look at the very top, we've got 100% less for individuals and 63% less than our employees pay for family from 2016 to 2021. In 2016, we were on Blue Cross Blue Shield full insurance. And HR and Terry put a committee in place to analyze should we change and go to LGM. They 100%, I don't know if 100%, but they voted to accomplish that. And in doing that, you go back to what the employee pays and what the city pays. For individual employee insurance, they pay 0. Now, the reason it says 75 is if for whatever reason they don't get the screening, then they in turn pay us $75. But an employee for their individual insurance pays nothing. For family, now you look at what the city pays, the city, I'm trying to think what that number is, it's $521. For each employee each month, we're investing $521. For family insurance, it's $180 to $255 that each employee pays, and the city's paying about $1,000. So if you look at the investment that we're making each year in our employees, it's gone from $2.6 million in 2016 to in 2021, it's $3.9, almost $4 million. So a lot of times employees only talk salary, but the reality is this is a major deal for our employees. And as a mayor and council, and I know HR is a strong advocate. Anytime I even talk about increasing that, Terry tells me I need more than 5 minutes. And in turn, it is a reason when we're hiring folks that I think in many instances we're able to hire them because of that. We'll still talk salaries. As a matter of fact, I know we had an executive session. There's one area I want to talk to you guys about in that. But right now, that's one of the things that's critical. Let's go to some of the things. So when you look at engineering's budget, you're going to see, my gosh, what are you doing with their budget? Well, this is a lot of the things that are in there. You're replacing a plotter. 2 bridge replacements on Palmer Road that end up being about $1.5 million. If you want to know where our Huntsville Utilities money that comes in, that we are securing about that much, that's where it's going this year, is to take care of 2 bridge replacements that basically right now, I don't even know if it's 1940s or 50s bridges, but that's been on their list forever. It just simply has to be done. The county line road controller for Mill and Hardin, which we get emails on, they're just out of sync. You're correct, they are. That's what helps finalize that and get them back to where they need to be with the equipment that's needed. A mini roundabout at Eastview and Victoria, which will keep traffic always moving through there instead of those long lines. We're continuing right now with the Oakland Springs Greenway, where we talked about doing away with that. I think Mary Beth and team have recognized that we may need to contract it out, but it still needs to be done. It's critical for that area that we continue to enhance some things out there. We'll finalize the Bradford Farms TAP grant for $35,000. The Oakland Springs lift station is one that's critical for a lot of moving, a lot of the water and things that we need to do. When it came to engineering's top request this year, that was their top request. Bridge joint repair on Madison Boulevard. And then the largest piece of that is a complete resurfacing and signalization of Madison Boulevard from County Line to Zerg, which is using the AllDOT money plus the match that we have, and it's a total of about $9 million. In addition to that, there's other things that are in this budget. Again, we won't hit everything, but some of the highlights. The neighborhood street paving is still in there. It's the 2021 carryover, it's included. We didn't get to everything that we needed, but we're still doing about $1 million a year in neighborhood park repaving. And one of the things about that is we will look to go do our own contract. Part of the reason we haven't been able to do some of the repaving is we're using the county's contract. We in turn have enough ourselves with all the different things that we have that we need to go get our own. So when we call them, we don't have to wait on somebody. We simply can say, we're ready to go with this, this, and this. City Hall improvements. So that's not only the city clerk's office that's being revamped for more efficiency, upgraded IT, the movement of IT, and when IT moves, helping the Madison Police Department as they need to expand in the different areas that they're in. We're going to repave Hughes Road from Madison Boulevard up to where we started at Plaza with the 5-laning, repave Jet Parkplex Circle. We're going to restripe Waltrana from the railroad tracks all the way to Gooch Road. And you talk about making the difference there. We can't do the widening, but when you do the restriping, that will make a big difference on that. Repave Bowers Road. There's a Main Street, Martin Street drainage project, Lime Quarry sidewalk, Gillespie sidewalk from Walden to County Line. And then there's a carryover of some things that we didn't get done in 2021, the Gooch sidewalk, double HVAC, and the phone system that we approved. Yes?
Yes. Does the restriping include repaving on Walden?
No, it's restriping.
On the Gillespie sidewalk, Walden Preserve, is it where it's continuing on Walden Preserve, on the Walden side, County Line, where the sidewalk is, or across the street?
I'm pretty sure it's across the street from Walden, and I said Reserve, Walden Preserve, but to County Line. And we're still going to talk.
Why would we have sidewalk on this side to a certain point and then finish the sidewalk on this side?
Well, because you go on the sidewalk from Walden to Walden Preserve, you cross the street there, and then you go all the way down from Walden Preserve, which is where they are. In that case, it's easier when it comes, if you go drive that, you'll see that the...
I drive it.
Okay, so see if you think the north side's easier to move than the south side.
And I'll look at that next time.
Yeah. Is it also too, maybe have to do with part of that is the county on the south side?
I really think that's it. I think Steve may know more. Was there a reason that they chose the north side versus south side?
The connection of county lines be cheaper than on the north side than with the south side.
And then the intersections of the swampy area.
Intersection swamp.
You got the ditches and all that stuff in the line, just far cheaper north and south.
All right.
Yeah, those are great questions.
As long as we have a crosswalk there. Or will we have a crosswalk there?
A crosswalk at,
From Walden to Walden Preserve.
you can't stop traffic on that. But you do have the, I mean, it's no different than.
Well, I mean, if somebody's crossing the road, I don't care who you are, they're going to stop. So why don't we just paint our crosswalk?
I'll tell you what, you're asking a question that is an engineering decision, not a mayor council decision.
Engineer will do that without a red light, and they won't do it. I had a knockdown drag out with them all the time. I heard about it. They said more people are killed in crosswalks on busy roads. Everybody doesn't stop. There was a big knockdown drag out on why you do or don't do it.
So is that why there's not one at Heritage Elementary School?
I don't know about all that.
Yes.
Without lights, they will put a crosswalk there.
I asked for one over.
And Gary, schooled me on that's called pedestrian crossing when you put lights up. It's not a crosswalk. But they won't do just a crosswalk without it being a pedestrian.
Well, can we put up the sign, like, you have a deer crossing sign, and we have a people crossing
Okay,
sign?
you're already making sausage, and we're not even there yet. So when we get to that point, then we can in turn, those are discussions that we can have.
Sure.
I'll wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and believe me, as much as I would like to say yes to everything, all of a sudden you go back and the logic of how a lot of that stuff works, they go, here's why you shouldn't do that. But we'll do anything we can for the safety of our citizens. Maybe that's the best way I can say that. And a lot of times the safety of the citizens is not putting it there first because they think that everything's good if I have it and those folks still don't see it and they don't stop. But we'll talk about that and then we want to do it safely. Okay. Capital purchases, again, just going through this quickly. 6 police vehicles, 1 public works traffic maintenance control software. What does that mean? That means that in many instances, if we have that in place, public works can change traffic signals from their desk instead of having to go out there and do it in the field. The SCBA compressor for fire, another fire truck. You'll see where we just purchased one out of the CARES Act funds, and then a building department truck. One of the things that we don't have to do, we use Commissioner Haraway, always works with us. He's going to support $117,000 worth of project, a fully equipped police vehicle, an equipment trailer for public works, and the fire airbags and controller set that goes with that. Kind of how have we spent and are we spending our CARES Act funding? We received about $2.4 million. Obviously, the $300,000 that we approved this year in park renovations. We will ask for 2021 to spend about $400,000 on there. The fire pumper truck that we were able to purchase and get such a good deal on, that we invested $520,000 on that. The hoopla, which is the library digital services. This budget pays for that. That is a digital just library of wonderful ability for our citizens to download and use books, tapes, all kinds of stuff.
It's fabulous.
It's a fabulous.
I will vouch for that. It is a wonderful service, especially during this time.
Absolutely. Supporting additional outside agencies to the tune of about $38,000. You can see Big Brothers Big Sisters, Heels, and Fantasy Playhouse would be added this year at the $5,000 mark, with Thrive on money that we spent last year, which was all on COVID testing, and now it's going to be, they've been working on COVID vaccinations. And then that leaves the building formerly known as 3 Springs, it's about $1.1 million left over for that. And as you'll see, that's part of where we would move forward. And that would leave our balance at about 0, but that's where we would spend the money. When it comes to the building formerly known as 3 Springs, the estimated cost is about $10 million of that. In the 2022 budget, this is where we would spend our money. We would look to hire, and this would be Turner Construction and the architects will be brought to you guys for contracts in either the first or second meeting of October to approve that. And then the first portion of construction costs would be about $1.5 million in 2022. That brings the total of about $2.4 million. And if you guys remember, we had about $1.1 million left over in CARES Act money, and then we had about $1.5 million that Roger has in some mason jar and some account that he has that we have ready for that. And so that's how we would spend the money in 2022. I have pictures of what right now the 3 Springs, formerly known as 3 Springs facility, would look like. And it's over here on this table so you guys can look at what we already are kind of proposing that we would be able to utilize. You guys can see that when we get kind of done here. 2023 projects that we will, and one of the things I think, you guys are kind of, how are we moving forward with some stuff? We're going to design it in 22, start construction in 23. That would be Bradley Street improvements. So as we're looking to take the downtown redevelopment one step further, that would tie in the 2 big warehouses that are there that the Matthews family owns, and we're if-thenning them. If you guys bring us something that in turn is just going to transform, like we hope, those 2 facilities into something. We want to make sure that the Bradley Street is supportive of that in making sure we have the sidewalks a little widening and that kind of thing.
And where is that?
Bradley Street is one down from Martin.
Oh,
So you
okay.
got,
Paragraph mark on that.
yeah,
Okay,
paralyzed
gotcha,
Martin on the backside.
gotcha.
Good question. And it goes from, that would go basically from Sullivan Street to Garner Street.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it would actually go to Short Street, and then we could put a connector over to Garner Street.
That would help you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Old Madison Pike and Hughes intersection is one that is just not quite where we wanted it to. We did some of it with the Publix. We did some of it with the Hughes Road, but we didn't do it correctly with everything to move traffic in the best possible way we could. So we'll design that in 23, finish it in 22, and then start it in 23. Oakland Springs Phase 2, and then Mill Road, Oak Street. That's one of the ones that the fire department brought to us and said, we have a grading issue that we really need some support on, and we need you guys to help us with. I did forget that. The Burr Green Roundabout is exactly what you're hoping it is, which is designing the Burr Green Roundabout in 2022 and starting the construction of that in 2023. Sorry to miss that because it is a big deal and one that we wanted in there. And I'm going to end where I started because I remind folks of just what Madison is truly doing right now, and I'm proud of the product that we're continuing to put out there. And while we have every want and yearn to continue to make this the best that it can possibly be, I'm really proud to be a part of the team that is with our department heads, with you guys, and the school system, and anyone else that's continuing to manage the growth. And we are truly managing growth by doing really good things. So that's a really high level understanding of kind of what's in the budget. You guys have hard copies now of not only down to the nth degree of the general fund, but also all the funds that we have. I think Teddy, Renee, and I'm sure John are all ready to sit down at any point to go through it in major detail with you guys, as are we. Steve and I are available at any time you guys want to go through it. This would be, I think we're looking to bring the budget to the full council for approval at the next city council meeting. Yep. So that's it.
Can you email this to us so we can digest it a little bit slower?
I can. Yep.
It's all in here.
Yep.
Every bit of it in here.
Right, but the overview is very helpful.
Cool.
That means I don't go to the weed with you, right?
No, absolutely.
The one thing I would say is this is proposed, and until it's finalized, it's proposed. And that would be my worry is if this flies out on Facebook, then in turn everybody's going to say, well, what the hell is this? Well, it wasn't approved yet, so I think we all need to use caution on that.
No, I totally appreciate
Yep.
that. It was just very fast.
Yeah, because what
I don't know any other way to do it.
you guys, if somebody decides to cut stuff out, whatever it comes out of the proposed, and I mean, it's going to change stuff on that chart. So.
Yeah. And again, Roger always does a great job of making sure that we all meet the requirements that we have on the timeframes he's put in place. Again, Steve was integral as far as kind of helping to really determine where the money should be spent, and that's what our job is that's the entire mission statement, is to take what they give us, stretch it as far as we can to make a difference for them and their quality of life.
Good. Anybody discussion, thoughts on the budget? Give everybody time to digest that, go through it, and all discuss it. Next, Wayne, we'll talk about executive session.
Sure thing. We'd like to propose an executive session for this evening because the city is involved in preliminary discussions in matters of commerce where we're in competition with other government entities and businesses, are in competition with each other for this project. And so we believe that a session is proper, and it's to discuss those preliminary negotiations and is our position that it would be detrimental to the city's position if those matters were discussed outside of executive session now, even though they will certainly be brought to the public within the next few months. And as you recall, it's been a while since we did one of these, but it requires a council vote to go into session, and I have these declarations for the city clerk and for our council president, and we're ready to take the vote and then
vote.
Can I confirm the motion was made by Councilmember Shaw and second by Councilmember Spears?
Powell and then Spears.
I sound better and I look better than y'all. Just so we
Do we need to take a vote on that?
we can do that too.
No discussion, no discussion.
Okay, well, here we go. Councilmember Powell?
Aye.
Councilmember Spears? Council President Shaw?
Aye.
Councilmember Robleski?
Aye.
Councilmember Bartlett?
Aye.
Councilmember Denzine? Councilmember Seifert?
Motion passes. We will move to 1:30.